Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody, to Midnight Mandela. Let's see who's in. Linda Lava Lamp, and I'm a little spaced out, obviously. Mandela 108, Armas Silenciosas para Guerras Tranquilas 2, myself, Janice Windsor, Shari D, welcome, Petite Penguin, Jumping Ship, Monty Hendrix, Morpheus Dreams of Sleep, and I think that's about it. Yeah, it's been a little bit weird on on regular media with I didn't really look really into it, but yeah, there was some kind of weird mummies procession or something, where they were moving artifacts. That was pretty strange. And then what was it? Recall Vector did the bleeding chest thing, so that was pretty weird. I'm going to just cover it really quick now that you mentioned it. But so apparently, if you go jogging, then you can have things happen to you, which is this. Apparently, jogging causes this now. As a female, I have never heard of this, but I looked it up and they said it was common problem, which just sounds totally insane to me. No, I don't think so. Ew, creepy. I don't know. This timeline loves its creepy stuff. So, yeah, good find, Recall Vector, or wherever you got it from, whoever found that. I mean, I just saw it on Recall Vector, so I'm not sure if he found that himself or somebody told him, but it's, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Yeah, I know. So the story, I guess, is that it's like basically like chafing or something. It just no, that's not happened. And as a female, you would actually think that'd be more common for females, if anything. But I don't know. I don't know. They don't. I read a couple of people who talked about this happening, and they said that they didn't know. They said that they just thought they were all sweaty, and then they looked down and there was blood everywhere. So apparently it doesn't hurt. Yeah, it looks painful. Ew. I don't know why they're showing all these guys with it too. Like you would think that it'd be more of a female problem, or at least 50-50. I don't know. Okay. All right. So that's gross. So let's moving on since it's not even my Mandela. That one's from somewhere else. Okay, so last week we covered that flying wings thing, and I wanted to kind of cover it again because right after I covered that, like 3 days later, somebody posted this on Retcon about it, and it actually refers to this scene in Indiana Jones, where he fights this meat wagon dude, and she gets stuck in the plane, and the plane spinning around, and then the plane bangs like a gas tank, and then gas spills out on the ground, and then she shoots some bad guys, and their vehicle explodes, and it ignites the gas, and the gas is running under the plane, and Indy pushes. No, this guy gets chewed by the propeller. If you watch Indiana Jones, you're probably somewhat familiar with the scene. Okay, so what he was saying was that he watched a podcast where the people on the podcast, they were confused about this plane because they're like, well, I don't remember it looking like that. And I've also heard a couple other people mention that, oh, Indiana Jones had a flying wing plane on it, and I didn't remember anything about that. So it all kind of came together. I'm just gonna like jump forward a little. So this is interestingly, they don't really show a lot of faraway images of the plane, which would you'd think that they would if they made a whole either dragged in an experimental plane for this or made one. Either way, you'd think that they would showcase their work. Oops, that's not the image I wanted. I'm trying to show the edge of the plane because this is basically one of those flying wings. It's got two little things here and no tail. But they don't really show it from a distance, so it's kind of strange. See if I can get more. There's them on the top. I don't know, does this look familiar to you guys, or do you remember this weird flying wing thing on as being the plane? Um, Wait, there it is. There it is from a distance. Okay. So see, there's no tail to it. It's just basically a flying wing. Um, I'll put up the image from last week real quick. So I'm a bit confused of whether this is supposed to be. So basically, this is the old flying wing that supposedly NASA worked on. So now the story is that there was one here in Raiders. So what's neat? Okay, so who found this? It was Echoey Propane Tank. User goes by that name. I just listened to a recent podcast where they reviewed Raiders of the Lost Ark. The part that stood out to me was when they discussed the airplane fight scene. The host mentioned that he probably watched this movie 20 times in his life and he never noticed what a weird and completely unusual plane it was in the fight scene. Out of curiosity, I looked up the scene, and apparently the plane was called a flying wing, which is exactly what it looks like, just a big wing with propellers and a cockpit. The podcast guys chalked it up to being a clever way to show in the movie that the Nazis were working on a strange new technology. I was pretty surprised how the scene was nothing like I remembered it, too. The way I remembered it, I can still see it. The plane was normal looking, like maybe a DC-3. The plane was shiny and metallic chrome. In the movie scene, it's actually now very dull and coated in dust and dirt. Most of the fight took place walking around on top of the plane as opposed to them mostly walking around on the ground underneath the plane. I remember it more like the bad guy got decapitated, then Indy somehow shoved him off the top of the plane toward the propeller as opposed to the propeller slowly approaching him and pulverizing him. I actually do remember the propeller approaching and pulverizing him, though. That's one thing I do remember. When the bad guy died, I thought the blood actually splattered onto the camera lens, the movie screen. It actually shows blood appearing on the cockpit. I don't remember the camera lens one either, so this guy might be a different timeline than me. But I actually don't remember it being that weird a plane either. I do remember it being kind of normal. And let's see, down here, as a man thinks so he is, dug up an image what he remembers the plane looking like. Is more like that. I don't remember it like quite that beefy looking with the wheels and stuff, but yeah, more like that, but maybe a little smaller. And I don't remember the cockpit like that, but yeah, it looked more normal. I do agree with that. Okay, so I'm just gonna play the podcast. So apparently this guy is fairly well known. I don't know him. Hal Lublin has a lot of people watching his podcast and stuff, but like there's 1,800 people listening right now in the middle of the night. So I'm gonna make sure. France invading Germany? Wait, I must have missed something. France invading Germany. No, I don't remember that. The Messiah has been revealed, claims in Israel that Ziyahu ben David is Moshiach. I'll have to look into that later. I don't know. The thing is, there's always people claiming to be the Messiah, so he'd have to gather some steam before I took it too seriously. This plane was not in Indiana Jones movies before, says Shari D. Well, I believe you. Angels don't fall. Yeah, I know. Probably shouldn't say that one on air, but yes, you're probably right. Well, they handed out Vaseline for like leg chafing. I don't remember it being for boob chafing. France invaded Germany in 1939. I'll check on it. Well, okay, remind me to go back to that. Let me just finish this one. I remember the fight in the tank. Why would they use those strange planes in the movie? Okay, they kind of cover that in the podcast. I'm just gonna play like a minute of the podcast. Jones' show and W didn't use that flying wing, but a war airplane, like in the movie. I'll have to check out my old video my dad took when I was there in 1992. Yeah, I just remember it being kind of a normal kind of plane. The Messiah guy is officially in Israel, media announced. All right, let me just... Jizahu Ben David. Jizahu. All right, so I'm going to play this clip real quick, and then we can move on to additional Mandelas.
That had these weird bent bird wings.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me, like on my 20-something viewing, I was like, what the hell kind of plane is that?
Isn't it funny how my memory of it was that it was a normal sort of bomber plane.
I think so.
And then when I saw it, I was like, is this a special edition that I'm watching? Did they change? But it makes perfect sense. That is like a very...
It's a nice little element.
It's the brilliance of Spielberg, is those little... He wanted those little bits of detail in there that totally. Even though that plane didn't exist, it makes sense that they would have... The group of Nazis going after the Ark of the Covenant would have all experimental stuff.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, like you build a plane if you're Spielberg, I guess, instead of getting an old plane.
Okay, so that's all I'm going to play for that one. So I thought it was interesting because they're kind of acting like the plane didn't exist. I don't know. Will it exist? Will we find out that the Nazis had that? I'm not sure if it existed right now, but their attitude seems to be that it didn't exist. And that Spielberg built like a whole plane prop with an engine and propellers and everything just for the movie. That's a lot of prop money down the tubes for that one. I'm wondering if we're going to find out that they did have... Like that was really a real old plane that they were just using. And they only had to have it spin around a few times, so, it wouldn't have been that much risk to the plane. Anyway, this guy came up with this like a couple days after my show and obviously hadn't watched my show and was just talking about this weird podcast. So I thought the timing was really interesting because it's like, that was exactly what I was talking about. Okay. All right, let's talk about this person in Israel. Israel's Messiah, Jizahu Ben David, showed up. Has been anointed and ordained. This is mirrored. This channel does not state with certainty that this is Moshiach, nor, I don't know how to say that word, I'm sorry. Nor does it necessarily endorse their views. Okay, so that's their word for Messiah. I don't know how to pronounce that, though. I'm going to use the word Messiah because it's a lot easier on me. The Messiah will be a great political leader descended from King David, is often referred to as Messiah ben David, Messiah, son of David. He will be well-versed in Jewish law and observant of the commandments. He will be a charismatic leader and inspire others to follow his example. Showed up on March 27th. The Wailing Wall. Alright, I'm not watching video because I could get some copyright strikes on that one. The head rabbis are saying they have crowned their Messiah, Ben David, in private and will crown him soon in public. This is mirrored from Wallytron 101 on YT YouTube. On this channel does not state with certainty that this is Messiah, nor does it necessarily endorse their views. This is for educational purposes only. Okay, so it doesn't sound like they've officially announced anything yet. Unless you've got some info that I don't. Ooh, it doesn't look like my computer likes this channel any. The Autistics just announced the identity of Messiah Ben David. I have totally conflicting feelings about Danny 18 for a lot of reasons, but anyone with their eyes open can see that at least in this instance, you can trust what they are saying 100%. They're about to get, things are about to get interesting. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens on that one. All right, so we're on France invading Germany, I think, now. Didn't use that flying wing, but a warplane, airplane, like in the movie. Yeah, okay, we already read that one. I didn't even know the Jews were waiting for a Messiah. Ooh, I didn't either, but I can't say I was that well versed in Jewish philosophy. I thought the rapture was supposed to happen before the Antichrist was revealed. I don't know. There's a couple versions of that now. And it's all a little different than the past for me, so it's got so confusing because things keep changing. Like I said, I don't remember the millennial reign of Christ until about 6 months ago or something. Mafugel was talking about it too. The what's his name? Ben David, Messiah. I don't know. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Does this mean no fake alien invasion? Well, I don't know. I'm sure they could squeeze that in. How would you know if it's fake or not? I don't know. I mean, we've seen the moon change orbits and stuff. I don't even know if the moon is real. I don't know what reality even is anymore. Everything might be fake. Like if this place is in a simulation, then everything in here is fake. So then how can you tell fake from fake when it's all fake? Yes, it was a case. That's why they didn't recognize Jesus. Oh yeah, actually. Well, that's right. You're right. I do remember that. They did expect a Messiah, and they didn't agree that Jesus was it. For whatever reason. I don't remember them giving a good reason. What a coincidence that the Messiah's name is actually Messiah. Is it actually Messiah, or are they just sticking it on there? I'll have to get more info. I don't see a lot of info on this though. The identity of Messiah ben David. So what's the guy's actual name though? Okay, so Jizahu. I don't know if that's his name or what. They plan to have a public event at a future date of their choosing, but the video got out. I don't know. The thing is that somebody could just have invented this. I mean, we won't know for sure until they actually do it. They officially trot this guy out, then we'll know it's legit. There's so many rumors and conspiracy theories around that I'm not going to jump on it until we've got the official statement from the rabbis or whatever. The rabbis and Orthodox Jews thought to conceal this event. They planned to have a public event at a future date, but the video got out. They crowned their false Messiah in Jerusalem in March 27. Click here to read more. So what evidence do they have that this happened is the question. A recent interview on Israeli radio again featured prominent rabbis explaining that the Messiah is just about to reveal himself. Getting the word out that the Messiah is closer than ever is a matter of life and death. Haven't you heard of Gog and Magog? That is what is happening, going to happen very soon. Blah, blah, blah. All right, signs that have happened. Another righteous rabbi said that according to current situation in heaven, there will not be Israeli elections, rather there will be a war. If the elections do take place, it's pointless since it will end like the other elections. No government will come out of it. No one will take the government away from Netanyahu. Both predicted that Benjamin Netanyahu would be the state of Israel's last prime minister prior to the Messianic age. A great many, if not most, of the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel continue to believe it. All right, so the only info apparently came from one source. It's just being spread. I don't know. I think we're just going to have to wait and see if this comes out more or if it's more of a rumor mill kind of thing. There has been some interesting things that I've kind of seen with the lockdowns, because it seems like the ultra-Orthodox are not so obedient with the social distancing and all that, and there's been a lot of kind of crackdown on them because they have a certain way of life, and it doesn't really, their way of life, traditional way of life, is as a tight-knit group that they meet together. They don't they're not going to stay home and stay on the internet during a pandemic, basically. So and Israel has really cracked down really hard on the lockdowns and all that. And they've already got the vaccine passport going on, and so there's kind of a whole, them of all people. So there's kind of a really weird dynamic going on over there, too. So yeah. Jezahu ben David is Messiah, they claim. Yeah, I don't know. What is his given name, though? Or they just tacked that name on him? Or was that the name he was born with? Let's hope Eva's people show up. What are we talking about? Some kind of camp out thing? Yeah, the second moon is turning from space dust to more concentrated space dust. Yeah, I did see that with the extra moons, and they said they were space dust moons. I thought it was really weird that they were calling them moons. I don't think I chose to cover that one, but basically there's some space dust out there, and they're calling it a moon, which is kind of weird. So I'm thinking it might, crunch together as more of a moon type thing or something. You don't call a cloud of dust a moon. This is the major difference between Jews and Christians. Christ has already come as our Messiah while the Jews are still waiting. Gil Bates wants to dim the sun with chalk dust. Oh yeah, I did read that. Yes, that was so funny. Okay, I should. It's not really a Mandela, but it's ridiculous. And I was actually laughing about this to my friend. It's very recent that I read this. Okay, so Bill Gates funded study to dim sunlight may be needed. Okay, and they actually already performed an experimental release of. So this, it's weird because they used to say that if a volcano barfed out a lot of ash, it would cause global cooling and could be the next ice age, and we could all die. And yeah. And now they're like, oh, we're gonna release chalk dust into a certain part of the atmosphere so it'll block the sun. And they've already experimented with it. Not a whole ton of chalk dust, but they did go out and throw some up there somewhere. I was reading about it earlier. That's why I don't have to look it up now. But Harvard scientists are attempting to determine whether they can dim sunlight to cool down planet Earth. The administrators of SCOPEX, or Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, plan to test their sun-reflecting particle spraying balloon in Sweden in 2021, sans particle expulsion. Now, you know what? I was just reading on this, and what I read was they already threw a couple bags of this chalk dust up. Of course, you got to wonder, is it really all chalk dust? I don't know, Unlike sulfates, which can lead to ozone loss, calcium carbonate is not particularly reactive. But because it does not exist naturally in the stratosphere, models for its behavior are uncertain. Yeah, nothing could go wrong. Yeah, that's it. Now they threw aluminum particles up there. I don't know. I know that's a real popular conspiracy theory. I just don't really see a ton of evidence for that either. I mean, aluminum is really common in the environment on a normal day. I'm not saying that they're not doing it. I don't know. I just really feel like I got to sit on the fence on a lot of these. I think Norway has banned Bill Gates' plans for dimming the sun. See, that's one of the things I'm like, who gave Bill Gates the right to mess with the whole world's atmosphere? I mean, don't the countries get a vote on this? I mean, I don't recall voting on let's dim the sun. I don't recall reading the science on this. So how come he gets to get up there and mess with the entire global atmosphere? It's pretty weird. I mean, wouldn't all the other countries be going like, wait a minute here? I want to see the plans for this. Rainbow monkey butts. You know what? I covered rainbow monkey butts like a couple years ago. That was one of my early Mandela videos. Bunnies that stand. Now, we've already had the ones that stand on their hind legs and fight. this is another one. He's talking about the thumbnail. The rabbits in the thumbnail. He might be the Antichrist. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look over the latest lore on that. It shifts too, you know. Even the prophecies change, and we're always that way. So at least I rarely see the chemtrails anymore since lockdown. That's true. I don't see them as much as I used to. So, of course, the argument will be that they're not flying planes as much as they used to because nobody's on them. So, I've watched all your videos, but for me, about 2 weeks ago, a ton of videos that didn't exist popped up. Yeah, you know, I've watched there's other YouTubers that the same thing happened. And they'll be dated from, so when I put up a video, it has the date I put it up in. I can't change that. I mean, I'm sure like the owners of YouTube could, but I don't have the ability. So I've watched other YouTubers and suddenly a bunch of old videos will pop up and existing videos will change. And, you know, it's just, you know, either I or you shifted. Samples from Mount Shasta and other remote areas come back with barium, strontium, lithium, dehydrated blood cells, and aluminum. Okay, so like, who took the samples though? You know, I mean, like, I could say I went out and took samples and this is what I found. And who knows if it's really what I found or if I even took samples. So, you know, you can't trust anything anymore. There's a lot of people who will do anything to get a couple clicks on YouTube. So there's that too. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, it takes a lot to convince me of anything. Okay, so anyway, let's get rid of all these Bill Gates' ones. Okay, so this one's an interesting one from Mark Tyus. So this one is just kind of classic, blame everything on COVID, but it reeks of Mandela. Who is that? 40% of Americans don't recognize themselves in the mirror due to COVID stress. While many people haven't seen their friends during the pandemic, some believe they haven't even seen themselves recently. 2 in 5 Americans say that they passed a mirror and not recognized their reflection at least once during the Rona. Over half the poll believe the Rona has negatively affected how they feel about their body. Another 42% confess that, yeah, okay. So now they're just going into the Rona stuff. But I'm like, seriously, 40% of Americans don't recognize themselves in the mirror. Well, I don't think it's the Rona, guys. I think that there's some other stuff going on, like the Mandela, and that's why. So they're pawning it off again on the Rona. Don't think so. That was just really ironic. Everything's going to get on. That's why I think a lot of this long COVID, I suspect it might be shift symptoms. There's all these people saying they have long COVID, and they didn't even have a bad case of COVID to start with, you know, or they didn't have the COVID, or they never were tested and found positive, or they had a mild flu. You know, if with the COVID going around, if you have weird symptoms, you're just going to assume it's long COVID. But is it? If you've never tested positive, how do you know? I'm going to put the mic a little closer. Hopefully it doesn't freak you guys out too much. Last time I got it really close and everybody's like, your voice has changed. Actually, that's a little bit too close. Can't see the screen. I don't recognize a lot of famous people. They look off. Bit of Venom. Venom's in. Yes. And, and a couple years ago, there was that big conspiracy theory where famous people were killed and replaced by doubles so that they could be controlled. And I wonder if that kind of, it's because they looked funny and they're acting different than what people remember. And so they would totally buy into some kind of weird thing like that. Like, yeah, they're not the same. They recognize they're not the same, but it's easier to think that they were replaced by a double than like the time-space continuum is magically altering, because that's even weirder than being replaced by a double. But you instinctively know they look different, they're acting different, they're saying different things. Things are off. So I think that's why that conspiracy theory was like so hot for a while. That's a good way to cover any face updates. Yeah, and you got the mask on, and oh, you're stressed out from the Rona. People are off in general. Yes. And so the mask coverings and all that, and long COVID or most likely shift sickness. So yeah, there was, I don't know if you ever watched Releasing the Shackles. She doesn't do a lot on YouTube anymore, but she's on Odyssey, and her old videos are on YouTube still. She was starting to get strikes and stuff also. And so she apparently was talking to this guy who got the Rona, and then he got long COVID, and he was like really meticulous. So he documented all of his symptoms. And what he discovered was that every 5 weeks, there's like a new wave, like every 5 weeks. So he's getting better. And then in 5 weeks, he has like this new wave of sickness. Fatigue and like that. So it's, we've all been talking about for years that this thing comes in like a waves, so I'm like, if I was smart, I really should like document the symptoms. So he was every 5 weeks. A lot of that's kind of sounds kind of like what we tend to think. So if there's a lot of people going through a lot of weird symptoms, the Rona will cover for some of that. Masks help my complexion. I stopped wearing makeup and my face cleared up. That's been hit and miss because, it probably helps not to wear makeup. But on the flip side, some people are getting masks because they're just it's like a lot of times it's people have to wear it like 8 hours. It's just irritating their skin really badly. I mean, like I only have to wear a mask for like 20 minutes when I'm in the store. I don't have to wear it 8 hours a day, day after day. Now they say JFK had a male lover all his life. It beats me. Yeah, I haven't heard that one, though. Marilyn Monroe, totally different, too. She was chubby. Yeah, and she also, I feel like her face does not have the unique beauty that it once had. It's all makeup now. If you look at her face, her face without makeup used to have a kind of a unique beauty that made her, I don't know, special. But now if you see her without the makeup, she just looks like any one of 50 other celebs these days, with the blonde hair and a pile of makeup. So I don't know, she's not as pretty as she was. Now the only thing left is like the eyebrows, but the rest of her face is kind of thin. And I mean, it's not that she isn't pretty. It's just she doesn't have that unique extra beauty that she used to have for me. Elvis Presley is as good looking as he was at any age. He's gotten a little trimmer too. I remember him being fatter. Well, I mean, when he was younger, he wasn't, but when he got older, for me, he was before he died, he was fatter than he was now before he died. My coworker wears her mask and still puts lipstick, which ends up in the inside of her mask. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming she's planning to take off the mask for eating and stuff, so that might be why. But, I mean, like, I still put lotion on my lips so they don't get dry. And I just wash my masks. But at least it's clear, so you don't really see it on there. And most of it'll soak in, so. Rumor had Marilyn not showering for weeks on end. I don't know. It just seems like everybody is gross in this timeline. Like all the old ones are, almost all of them. There's a few exceptions, but. Elvis was blonde. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you agree. He was much thinner at the end. All right, let's just look at Elvis because I haven't really looked at him in a while. Yeah, I see it. I don't think he's quite as handsome as he was. It's not a huge change, but you know that I've kind of been thinking about this, and one of the observations I've kind of made is that I see a lot fewer really ugly people in the world, like people who were pretty ugly that, you know, the cheekbones have come up. They look better. I look better. A lot of people look a little better, but then the really good-looking people have kind of dropped a little. It's almost like we've gotten all more towards the center. The outliers are kind of shrunk in. So the uglier ones got prettier, and the really pretty ones got a little bit more normal. So there's like less difference. I mean, there's still difference there. It's not absent, but yeah, I don't think he's as good looking as he was. I agree with you on that one. Again, it's kind of like, is that even him? Oh my God. Yeah, see, I can't even imagine that being Elvis. That it was like some kind of a impersonator or something. Yeah, you just some of his uniqueness is gone. This one might be the closest I can see to how he used to be. There was a Mandela a while ago that, you know, he used to twist his lip a lot, and that disappeared. There used to be so many images of the lip twist, and now now it looks more like a weird smirk. The lip twist is gone. He looks more like he's growling now. All right, Elvis Presley before death. Well, his face is interesting. Okay, so for me, his face is really bloated in this one. I remember his body being a little fatter, but his face didn't look that bad. See, his face looks really bad here. A lot of the outfits look a little different than I recall, too. I just remember a lot more really white outfits. None of these even look like any of the outfits I remember seeing on him. I definitely remember at least one common photo with him in a pure white outfit with a bunch of spangly crap all over it. Maybe it's this one. That's black and white, so I can't tell. See, I don't remember seeing like these kind of outfits before. with all the colors on him and stuff. I don't know, it's just a little bit different. See, like this one, I've never seen this one before. This is not my first time going through these photos, too. Never seen this one before. All of these look new. They're very unique. Okay, so yeah, anyway, I do agree. Okay, Elvis hair color. So he's not blonde, but that would freak me out. That would freak me out, indeed. That better not be him. Oh, the hair looks pretty light on that one. Wow, I don't ever remember his face being that thin. Huh. Yeah, it seems just a little off. Okay, anyway, I gotta drop this one. Elvis' first movies was when he was blonde. All right, let's see. Was Elvis blonde? But what many people don't know is Elvis Presley was actually blonde when he was younger. Elvis said he's said to have started life as a little blondie. As with many blonde children, over time his hair darkened. Okay, as a person myself with blonde hair as a child, your hair darkens when you're like 6 to 10. It doesn't, you're not blonde when you're 25 and then get black hair. I mean, at least not in my timeline. I'm calling Mandela on this because there's no freaking way. No, that's wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes, I totally agree. Elvis was blonde. That is just wrong. Look at this one. It's just brown there. You're right. Okay, now this one looks darker. Something's fishy about this. You don't turn dark haired. You don't reach high school with blonde hair and then have pitch black hair by the time you're 30. That's not how it works. Now, if he was a little 5-year-old or an 8-year-old, I might be able to buy it. And it's going to be even lighter than this because this got grease on, and grease darkens it. Elvis was originally blonde. That's so wrong. I mean, what is this? It looks like it's been colorized. But, I mean, like, All right, good find. Yes, that's a good find. Wait, who came up with that one? That was a good find. Elvis is more plain Jane. Yeah, he's not as interesting as he was. There's a lot of evidence now that Elvis was gender reversed. No way. Oh my gosh. You just can't all right, was Elvis female? Let's do it like that. All right, I'm not really finding it, so I'm going to cry uncle. That might be quite the Google hunt. Mia Farrow and Woody Allen were never married. Really? Yeah, I thought they were. I wouldn't swear to it, but I thought they were. Yeah. Mick Jagger looks better. Yeah, and I have to say Mick Jagger was never my style as far as looks. I would definitely count him as not good looking. I don't know. I don't know. He looks different. I don't know if I'd say he looks better. Let me look at how he looked like when he was younger. Young. Actually, he does look a little better when he was young, I think. Now. A little, yeah. Okay, I'll agree with you on there. He does look a little better when he was young. It's definitely different. He looks kind of more average now. So that kind of fits with the theory then. The pretty ones are getting more normal and the ugly ones are getting more normal. Priscilla is now in the Bible. Barbra Streisand is now Barbra. No way. That's not right. Let's try this. Barbra Streisand. Whoops. How do you spell that? No, I think it's E-I. All right, there we go. Oh, it is. It is. That is a big fat Mandela. Barbara Streisand is an American singer, actress, and filmmaker. Barbra Streisand. That is not right. Home Barbra Streisand. No, no, that's not right. That looks ridiculous. No. No, I agree with you on that one. That's craziness. Barbra. Joan, Barbara. Now, see, they have both on here. See if they discuss her spelling of her name. Released her debut album, Barbra Streisand album. So it does, even from the earliest album, it had no extra, it had no third A in it. Wow. Okay, yeah, no. I'm just kind of... All right, I'll do the new spelling. Just what she looked like when she was young. That's pretty close to how I remember her. I don't think she's changed a ton. I think it changed to Barbara at least 20 years ago. Barbra was not even a name in my timeline. Yes, exactly. It looks like kind of pornographic or something. Like it would be some porn star name. Yes, preliminal. Barbra Streisand is now Barbra. Now Streisand. What about Barbara Mandrell? I don't even know that person. Barbara. I don't know Barbara Mandrell. No, that's Barbara Mandrell. American country music singer and actress. So she still got, I don't know if what she had before, but she's still Barbara. Okay, so next. Got you. Okay, got that one. All right, so the 40% Americans don't recognize themselves. That was Mark Tyus. I'm not sure if I covered this one or not. I might have, because I know I did a big thing on eyes, the slit eyes versus the round eyes. And I think I talked about the nose. Okay, so the koalas have the slit eyes now, which is interesting because they were saying before that slit eyes were for carnivores, like predators, and these are not, and they're still saying that, but yet they have the slit eyes and they're not predators. So the slit eyes are supposed to be better for predators like cats. But then now we're seeing, I don't know. So they've got slit eyes, and this one, weird one, has 2-color eyes. So I thought they all had brown eyes, but lately I've been seeing the baby koalas having blue. But this is an adult, and it has one blue and one brown, and I've never seen that in a koala. And you can see the slit eyes. I've mentioned before I thought the noses were getting bigger, but I think they're bigger now. The noses are honking. I remember it being more like half the size of what we got going on here with these schnozzles. I mean, they're literally starting to look like they're having an elephant nose or something happening. I mean, that's just, it's too big. That the noses are ridiculous. So they just keep, oh, this one doesn't even have a full black nose now. They always did. The other thing I'm noticing is that a lot of them are getting this white chin thing going on, and I don't remember that at all. And they look dorky now with that chin business. Oh, there's another one with speckled snoot. Oh, that one has a they never had a speckled snoot before. That's not right. Let me just start over and see if it's just pulling speckled snouts or what. Dang, that one's a long URL. Dang, it's a long URL. There we go. All right, so if I just randomly pick images of koalas, are they going to have speckled snouts? See, that one does. Some of these, it's hard to tell, but that one has a speckled snout. They never had speckled snouts before. So now I'm seeing multiple. And you can see up their nose. I don't remember being able to see up into the pink of their nose like this. See, I don't remember this at all pink in there. Like my dog, if you look up my dog's nose, her nose was black inside of her nose too, going back into the snout. It didn't turn pink just past just inside the nostril. So I've never seen that before until just now. And I've looked at these koalas a number of times. So something's going on with the nose on these guys. See, again, speckled nose, gigantic nose, white chin, looks dorky as all get out. Look at this. Look at the side view. That just looks like he looks like doofus-like. See, that's a little bit better, but you just can't see the chin on that one, so he doesn't look as stupid. So I'm not really loving the new koala look, but like, how big is that nose going to get? That's crazy. Look at, you can totally see those nostrils. Okay, so anyway, I call more changes on the koalas. And Jay Emblin noticed the slit eyes. They had brown eyes with round pupils. That's what I remember. Their noses look rubbly. You kind of want to just go, like it's a clown nose or something. Yeah, Sharon McDonald, I totally agree with you. I totally remember just almost everybody had normal spelled names. And then I think it was around 2010, there was this rash of popularity where people were spelling their kids' names really strange. Like just I don't know, they thought it was all trendy. And I thought it was really asinine at the time. But then what I'm seeing now is people even far older than I am now have all these weird spellings, and those just weren't around for me like in 2000. There were very few people with unusual spelled names, and you would kind of mark them in your head. It's like that one guy has a really weird spelling. But now they've got, there's 5 spellings for every name. Does anyone remember the phrase chalk one up for the Gippers? I do vaguely remember that. It was like before my time, but I have heard of it. I wasn't really sure what it referred to, but I have heard of that. Need inputs in. Welcome. Andy Chuang, Jack Frost. Slowly waiting on the strikes on my channel to expire. Hate poop tube. I have new videos to upload and can't. Definitely consider, an Odyssey channel or something. Or maybe I'm trying to get all my stuff transferred to Odyssey. That way, if I get a strike and lose my channel, I'll have everything on Odyssey. And you can just, if you have any videos that are too much for YouTube, you can just do like a short little clip and then only put the clip on YouTube and tell people, okay, go over here for the rest of it. That way you can like rag on the lockdowns or whatever you want over on Odyssey. Need input. Most horrible feeling. Okay. I don't know. It seems like there's like mini shifts and then there's big shifts. So like mini shifts, you feel crappy for like 3 hours and then you feel kind of recovered. And there might have been like a mini shift like last night. I don't know. Maybe it's like just, I don't know. My energy is just so unstable anymore. I'll just feel real crappy, then I'll feel perfectly fine. And I just can't figure it out. Pharaoh Akhenaten is now depicted with female features in a lot of statues. Okay, wasn't that was the guy that worshipped the sun though? Let's see. He was kind of girly looking, but I don't remember him actually, being shown with total woman parts though. Oh yeah, there it is. Look. Frankly, I don't remember them even showing like those parts. Yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't remember any statues of any of the pharaoh types showing that kind of bared parts on them. Used to be covered. Interesting. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. So I remember him having kind of like part of the spiel was that he had himself realistically depicted versus the other pharaohs who didn't, and he had a bit of a pot belly kind of a look. But I don't remember him having, like women boobs or anything, and it does look like it here. Okay, see there, that doesn't seem right. Okay, so yeah, I would agree with you that that's a shift. So yeah, he totally does look like a woman in a lot of these. So what I remember is he just looked like, an out of shape dude. I don't remember him looking like a woman. I totally don't remember that. So yeah, interesting. Schumann resonance was off the charts for a couple days. It's a sign of a shift for me. Okay. So what do I feel like when I get that shift feeling? I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like an icky feeling inside my nerves or something. Like it's a lot of times it's kind of this crawly feeling. And other times also I just feel like really tired and like I swear if somebody told me I had like bone cancer or something, I would believe them because it feels like there's something like dying. Yeah, it does feel like dying. I agree with you. And like something is dying inside. I'm like that, like some kind of profound illness is starting to get a grip. But then like a couple hours later, I might be fine or it might be a few days, but and it definitely kind of comes and goes. So I'll feel really crappy and I'll be fine. I mean, I've even, before I knew about the Mandela, I even got a blood sugar test kit and tested my blood sugar to make sure I wasn't getting like hypoglycemic or something. But no, all my blood work comes out fine. I don't have any blood sugar issues, not even a hint of it. Like I keep looking, is there something wrong with me? Like how can I feel so sick and then feel totally fine later? It's just weird. Oh, you know what? You're right. There was a big racket of ear ringing last night too, now that you mention it. I tend to try to not pay attention to that, but it was really loud last night. Dizzy. I feel a little like nauseous sometimes. And like stupid, just can't concentrate. I feel like I'm not getting, yes, I do sometimes. I've heard other people say that. Sometimes I feel like there's something wrong with the gas in my lungs. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like, it's poison gas or like a little bit poison or something's not quite right. Need inputs, got the Rona. Get yourself some ivermectin. Just to be on the safe side. Anyone remember the band's name that sings the song Sex and Candy? With your answer, please let me know if you listened to it mainly when it came out in 1997 or after. I'm noticing a trend. I don't know if I know that song. Feels like time just zipped and then a bit dizzy. This last few weeks have been like just blasting through too. Time is really fast lately. I think it's all the nitrogen and yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering if I'm adapting. Like the adaptations probably have to be well timed. I mean, if the gas is changing in the atmosphere, the lungs got to change and match. And I saw my first pink rainbow today. Amazing. Ooh, I haven't seen one of those yet. Nothing more than the common cold and flu. I think there's something, but like, I don't know, you weren't here, but I was saying I think it might be related to shifts and shift sickness. There's something going around that has certain symptoms. I'm not really convinced it's much more than a nasty flu, but there definitely have been people who got it and died, and not a lot of people. I mean, if I look at all the people I know who have died in the last like 14 months, it's cancer and heart attacks and those two actually. And I don't know anybody close to me that died of the Rona. I've known people who got it or supposedly got it, and they weren't that sick. So, people are getting something and dying, but it's very overblown. But I'm not sure, so I went and got the super cheap medication because just to be on the safe side, even if it is just a flu, I hate the flu. And if I can make the flu go away faster, I will do it, especially if it's a very cheap and easy to obtain medication. Schumann seems to be the highest in the spring. Yeah, neat input. I saw that. So basically they found in a lot of the masks, there's like a little black threads. And they found that the threads, so what the thing with those threads or whatever, fibers. Okay, so some people thought they might be Morgellons fibers. The trouble is Morgellons fibers looks like 5 gajillion other fibers. So telling Morgellons fibers from anything else is difficult. So they would poke them with a little metal thing, but then if you poke fibers with metal, then you've got static electricity issues. So they might look like, a few of them do look like they're moving, but it could just be it's a real staticky day. So I don't know. Maybe the timeline hasn't sorted that one out yet. Like when I deal with bubble wrap all the time and popcorn, and if it's staticky, I mean, the popcorn will practically jump out of the box and clamp onto your hand. So if you're poking a fiber on a staticky day, I mean, I've dropped feathers in a box and had them fly out on their own due to static. So poking a little fiber with a metal implement on a staticky day could definitely make it wiggle around. It doesn't mean it's alive. Maybe it is alive. I don't know. But the thing is, you can see these fibers with your naked eye. So if there was a lot of wiggly fibers and a lot of mass, I think that more people would have noticed by now. So it could just be, so there was some kind of story that it was some kind of thing they put in there to like sanitize the mask, but I totally don't believe that because these are big fibers. It's not like some kind of chemical. So it is fishy. I agree with you there. I'm not claiming I know what it is, but it is a little strange. So I get mine from like Etsy. So it's like normal people just using normal fabric. So, and I only have to wear them short term when I'm in the store because of laws. So it's not like I have to wear them all day. If you go to Etsy, you can get the breathable kind, and that's the kind I like. I made a video researching them on Rona Time channel, on my Rona Time channel. Is that your? Oh, okay. So you have is that a YouTube channel? Did you know packing peanuts dissolve in water? Speaking of packing material, okay. So the new school packing peanuts, most of them are made with like this corn material, and they are biodegradable. The old school packing peanuts were like just an ordinary foam, and they were not biodegradable. So it depends on which one you're talking about. You can tell by the smell. Since I deal with packing peanuts a lot, I'm fairly familiar with this stuff. The smell, the new school ones almost smell like food, just like they almost smell like what they are. And then the old school ones smell like chemicals. I have been fine for more than a year, forced to wear a mask for like 20 minutes, got super sick for days. Yeah, I don't know. I think the older you are, the harder it is to wear the mask. I've definitely, a lot of my older friends are like, they're just not going to do it. And I've definitely heard them say that it's hard on them. Me kind of being middle-aged, I don't really have a problem as long as I wear a really breathable one and it's not for really long. But I'm really glad I don't have to wear it, like all day at work or something. That would really suck. There was like, I wore it for like an hour once, and I had my a little bit less breathable one on when I was in the store for a really long time. And I did really notice when I finally pulled it off that I was missing that air. So, did anybody else shift on 7/20/2020? I'm not tracking it that well, so. Just wear my clown mask. I love to shop in it. Wait, but you're over in Japan. Maybe they won't appreciate it the same way some people here would. On top of all the signs for a huge shift, my cat's personality changed last week. Oh, I have a good one. Actually, I almost forgot. Okay, so I might have caught my pickleball partner in a Mandela. So I said I thought that there was a shift a few weeks ago because he actually got better at pickleball, like by magic. Because we've been playing together for a couple of years, and suddenly he just went, he's better now. He doesn't think he's better, but he is better. And I'm pretty sure I don't suck more, so he's better. And he never fixed up his boat in this timeline. And in my old timeline, he did that at the beginning of 2020. And now he has to do it all over again in this timeline. But the new funny is that he has this Honda Fit car and he wants to sell it. So he's been talking about selling it for like months, and he jokes, why don't I buy it? I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. And then he heard that he got an offer from some kind of buyer reseller company for like 10,000. So he's like, score, maybe I'll just sell it to them. And so he was just getting ready to do it, and then he said, oh, well, now there's this weird warning light thing that showed up on my dash, and it's really pissing me off. And now he has to figure that out and all the timing and everything. So I was walking back to the car with him, and he goes, see, here's that light. I don't know what it's for. And he showed it to me. And so the light only comes on when he's not driving it. It's when he parks it. And I'm like, well, that's the same kind of issue I had when I got my new truck. I'm like, what's this light? It only comes on when I'm parking it. I looked up my light, and it's the alarm. It's the truck has a slowly flashing light that tells me the alarm is on because I've locked it. And so I'm like, well, I think that's your alarm. And he's all, oh no, it's not my alarm, because there used to be another light that came on for the alarm, and that one disappeared, and now I have this light. And so the other light was the alarm. This one can't be. And so he had a smartphone, so I made him look it up right there. And so it says that the flashing dot is the alarm. And then we couldn't find anything for that other one. And I'm like, well, I bet you quadruple double dog that if you try to find that other light, it doesn't exist anymore. I think that he had a Mandela on his car, and basically the light that is for his alarm has changed. And, his mind didn't work that way. So he's just assuming that it's some kind of broken thing. He can't, he was really puzzled when we looked it up and it said it was the alarm, because he thought he already knew what the alarm looked like. So I was trying to get him to pin down what the other light looked like, and he can't quite picture it. But he's like, but he's had that car for, I don't know, at least 5 years, and he knows what the lights are on it, and he's one of those guys who really pays attention to his car, and he does his own fixing and everything. So, disconnect battery to reset entire system. Yeah, I'll tell him to try it. That's an interesting idea. But basically, if that thing is is the alarm, then he's going to have no problem selling it, because the instruction manual says that that's normal. So if I was him, I'd just sell it. I'm like, look up the old one. I bet you can't find it. He's all, yeah. Well, you're scared to look it up. You're just scared. He's like, okay, I'll look it up. So let's see if he really does, because I think he's like kind of freaked out. He doesn't want to look it up. So your kitty is now very needy, meowing and not leaving my side, sleeping on my bed at night. The other is loving his own bed and no longer being around me at all. Next one, Anybody else remember the word banana spelled with double N's? Not for me, but I have heard that one kind of bopping around occasionally. There are photos of the planets Jupiter and Saturn looking blue. They were brownish before. Yes, that one has been on. I invite everyone to my Mandela Effect Discord server. Posted link on my last stream, Jack Frost. So maybe put the name of your stream up there if it's not Jack Frost, because they don't. You can't just click on your name anymore. The YouTube eliminated that. Yeah, it's the truck and boat guy. That's the one that now has the weird blinking light on his Honda Fit. Gotta love the new normal. I walk around in a full clown mask. Got a video on my channel of it. Japanese. Love it. Need input. Actually, that kind of makes sense because, I don't know, Japan seems to appreciate like the quirky stuff a little more. Like when I talk about paranormal stuff to Japanese people, like, you know, somebody with an accent that actually grew up in Japan, they're a lot more open to it. They'll listen to it. They'll consider it. They're not, you know, they're not like that. Like they don't jump on to the wagon, but they don't refuse it either. Like they're kind of just like, maybe, you know, that's kind of interesting kind of attitude. So it is nice to have that conversation and not be immediately dismissed as a crazy person. Born a natural blonde, Elvis Presley began dyeing his hair black from a very early age because of this. Only one photo of him with his natural hair color exists, and it is framed on the wall of Graceland. No, that's so wrong. It's so wrong. That is so wrong. I think I remember some images of him with some black stubble too on his face. So he wouldn't have black stubble if he was a natural blonde. No way. That's crazy. Okay, so Elvis was a blonde. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know why that one makes me laugh more than a lot of them. I really sometimes feel like the Mandela's trolling us to just see like how much bull that we're going to put up with before we're like, no, wait a minute. All right, let's see. Got that one, got the koalas. Page 2. All right, the 1920s, the Roaring Twenties. Do you guys remember the hand? Did you guys know that Roaring Twenties, the hand-painted knees of the Roaring Twenties? Let's see. Fortunately, chunks of wood apparently are also called knees. So, the forgotten beauty trend of the 1920s. Whenever I see some kind of title like that, I'm like, Mandela. Knee makeup isn't really a thing. Yeah, I'll take your stupid. It started out as knee rouging. So like apparently people were this article sucks. People were like in the 20s like rouging, so I guess they're putting red on their knees. But then so it was the forgotten trend, and now it's the trend you probably never heard of. So there it is. They were painting like images on their knees. And this was a trend of the Roaring Twenties. Have anybody ever heard of that? Painted or rouged knees were flappers' versions of thong straps above low-rise jeans. Rebellious girls in the 1920s wanted to anger and shock their Victorian-era parents. So not only would they bare their knees with short dresses, but they would also paint pictures to make sure an onlooker didn't miss their risque hem length. Rolled stockings became a fad with the shorter hemlines, and girls would get roses, butterflies, ocean scenes, or their dogs' faces painted on their knees to further push their boundaries. So I don't know. Has anybody ever heard of this business? So there she is getting the paint applied. I kind of like those a little bit better. She's doing her own one. Yeah, I just... My mother was really into that whole flapper thing too, and neither one of us ever heard of this business. Okay, so that was now a thing. Have you heard of Ring Makers of Saturn? The book came out in the 80s and explains how there are so many planets in our solar system with rings. I think I've heard that name, but only in the last year or two. Hitler used to have brown eyes, now he had blue ones. Yep, that was an older Mandela, a couple years at least. How do you highlight a name orange when responding? I don't know. I can do it blue. Check Banana Brains out. Die Antwoord Zef music. I don't know. Is it some kind of music thing? I don't know what that is. Mind your own bee's knees. Yeah, I guess so, huh? Quantum reality shifting timelines, just like the Aboriginal tribes talk about in the Dreamtime. What do they say about it in the Dreamtime? Maybe they thought paint on knees was like wearing a pasty. Makes no sense. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I've never seen it. That is kind of crazy. Every shift, everything gets a little more nonsensical. Yeah, there's more and more versions of stuff. Stuff's weirder and weirder. But some of these, I really feel like they're deliberately just getting trolled because, Elvis was famous for his black hair, so now we find out he had blonde hair. Bats were famous for being blind, and then we found out they could see the whole time. Lemmings were famous for falling off cliffs and being obedient. Now we find out that never happened, and they would never do that. So it's a lot of things is opposite land or something. Okay, so there's that one. I almost forgot. So we were talking about the shifts. I saw this also on removing the shackles, and she mentioned about sore ribs, and I have really felt that the last few 3 weeks or something is just up high on my ribs feel weirdly sore, and it's pretty much both sides, and it kind of comes and goes. I've never had sore ribs before. It's not even in the back, it's the ribs. It's not really bad, but it kind of concerning because I've just never felt that before. There's nothing wrong with them, and sometimes it feels totally fine, and then they'll be achy. So she was saying that she, I think her name is Danny, who does removing the shackles, and she said she's had really bad pains that come and go on the ribs. So I don't know if anybody else, and she said that other people have reported her the same. So it's kind of a weird thing. Sore ribs. I mean, I've never even really heard of that if you didn't fall or anything, which I totally haven't. Plus it's both sides. So I don't know if you guys have experienced anything like that, but strange. Okay, I have another personal Mandela. Sorry if these are boring. This one kind of freaked me out because there's been all this stuff on the news about schools changing their old mascots. So first it was schools that had Indians as mascots, but stuff like Trojans was left. But now they're starting to go, well, Trojans is racist, and trees are racist, and everything's racist. So I was kind of curious because my old school had the Trojans. I'm like, did they ever change their mascot? Well, what I found is that they didn't change their mascot, not yet, but they have a different name. My junior high school has never had the name that I grew up with. So I went to Sunnyvale Junior High, and now it never had that name, and I couldn't find it. I'm like, where's Sunnyvale Junior High? It's gone. I look, so it's now Sunnyvale Middle School. So I can tell you that it was Sunnyvale Junior High. And before I went there, it was called Mango because it's on Mango Street. And everybody called it Mango. So what happened in my timeline was there were two schools. There was two junior highs, and they were both 7th and 8th grades. And right before I was reaching the age of junior high, they closed the other one. And the other one was the bad neighborhood one. So all those kids came to my school, or to the one close to me, and they renamed the one close to me from Mango to Sunnyvale Junior High. I don't know why they felt the need to rename it, but I guess they wanted it to be more inclusive. Like now there's only one in Sunnyvale, so that's what it's called. And my brother, I specifically remember because my brother had already went through and he's all, oh, your school's going to probably be all rough with gangs and stuff now because all the gang people are going to come from the other school and go to your school and blah, blah, blah. And whatever. But so that was the story. So apparently in this timeline, I've been tracking it, and that never happened. The other school is still open, and they never changed my near school to Sunnyvale Junior High. There was two schools, and then just like 10 years ago, they changed it to from Mango. So it would have been Mango the whole time I was there, and they made a big stink about us not calling it Mango. No, it's Sunnyvale Junior High. They would get all crabby if we called it Mango. So it was Sunnyvale. It was Mango all through when I went there now. And then 10 years ago, they changed it to Sunnyvale Middle School. And that other school is still open this whole time. So I actually called the two schools and got some of this information from them. And then I also looked online and stuff. So I'm kind of flipped out. So I never went to Sunnyvale Junior High now. The other thing I wasn't able to determine, but now those schools are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Both of them are. And in my timeline, they were only 7th and 8th grade. And I asked the workers there, and some of them had been there a long time, but, only 20 years is, that's still a long time to work at a place. But they weren't there, all the way back when I went to school. So those people are probably all retired now. So they don't have any, none of them have ever heard of Sunnyvale Junior High. And I asked a question because I knew that it was now Sunnyvale Middle School. So I go, well, did it ever used to have a different name? And they go, well, it used to be called Mango, and then they changed it 10 years ago. I'm like, well, was it ever called Sunnyvale Junior High? Because people I know, meaning me, remember that. And she's all, no, I never heard of that, blah, blah, blah. None of them have ever heard of it. I can't find it online. It's gone. There is a Sunnyvale Junior High, but it's in Texas, so that ain't mine. So I don't know. So apparently my school is not my school, and it might have added another year. So I don't know. Where did this timeline me even go to school in 6th grade? I'm not sure. So my elementary school was closed and sold as a private school last I checked. I'll have to check if that was always the case, but so I don't know. That one kind of flipped me out because, I know the name of a school I went to for 2 years, and it was not Mango. So very trippy. Okay, now back to more physical changes. John Austin mentioned something that a lot of people chimed in on that they've noticed, and I have also noticed this. Fingernails, did they get tougher? Are your fingernails holding up better? Did they crack less? A little bit better at scratching, a little bit less breaky. I've definitely noticed that with mine. I kind of thought it was because I just improved my diet. I'm just curious if anybody else has noticed it. Well, junior highs are because there's a 9th grade in it. No, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th now. Sunnyvale Junior High was 7th and 8th before. And now it's middle school, and it's 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then 9, 10, 11, 12 is high school. Anyway, that's how it was. I don't know what it is now, but that's how it was then. The high school is still 9, 10, 11, and 12. Do you have a yearbook or any memorabilia? Yeah, I got it. I've got to look for it. I'm trying to think where it was. It was just a few days ago when I found this out, kind of by accident, because I was looking up that mascot thing. I found out my high school did change their mascot. They were the Indians, and they changed it to Firebird. Not really shocked, but wait, is it common now for ribs to dislocate or something? You know, they were talking about on Release the Shackles, that supposedly, and I had not heard of that until I watched the show a couple days ago. Supposedly, you can dislocate a rib by sleeping wrong, which sounds totally asinine to me. But you know, the ribs there's more of them, they're smaller. I don't know. I used to have less ribs, but they were honking fat, you know, stick kind of things, and now they're like linguine noodles, so maybe you can, but supposedly if you snore wrong or you cough wrong and you're laying down, you can dislocate a rib, which sounds crazy. I don't think any of mine are dislocated though, because if you dislocate a rib, it hurts all the time, not just like kind of achy for a few hours and then fine for 12 hours and like kind of achy. My angel, my ribs dislocate sometimes too. My mom has the same thing. And I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting there. So I don't see I mean, come on, it can't be. And it doesn't really hurt that bad. It doesn't feel like a dislocation. And it's like kind of diffuse. It really doesn't even feel like it's a specific place. You know, it's not like one bone goes and then that bone hurts or something. I don't even know how to describe it. Every damn article that comes out now says blah, 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 which you probably never heard of, is it's an automatic Emmy, you know, the Emmy radar comes up. I keep seeing articles more and more. The such and such you probably never heard of is a very popular one. And then another one is blah, blah, blah that everybody forgot. Those are the two most popular. My ribs dislocate, and it's just happened last week. Hurts with asthma. Yeah. How do you know if your ribs dislocate? I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of ribs dislocating just because you're like doing nothing. Used to have to bang them on something. I mean, it used to take a pretty good impact. And then you would like, I don't even actually remember them dislocating. Then you would crack them. You'd have a cracked rib. And that hurt like a mofo. But I don't even remember. Dislocated ribs. Dislocated. Do I even remember there ever being dislocated ribs? One end of a rib slips out of the socket, connecting it to the spine. Also known as a rib separation. Okay. It's ordinarily brought about by physical trauma similar to that from an accident or sports injury. How can I tell if a rib dislocated? So it just should be just one rib hurting if you have one dislocated rib. Pain in the chest or back, swelling and bruising, lump over the affected rib, extreme pain and difficulty when breathing, painful sneezing and coughing, pain when moving, difficult breathing, numbness on surrounding ribs, tenderness, treatment for a dislocated rib. What will the doctor do? Putting a cold compress on a partially dislocated or fully dislocated rib can help ease the sharp pain. Ice, reduce inflammation. Well, it doesn't sound like they can do much. Let's look at the images here. Slipping rib syndrome. Okay. Okay, what's that? Slipping rib syndrome. The slipping rib syndrome, which is also called Tsetse syndrome, develops due to having one of the ribs slip out of place. Okay, so it looks like basically you've got this cartilage now in the front, and if one of these ribs like slips away from the cartilage, then that would be the problem. Slipped rib. Slipping rib syndrome. Oh, that actually brings up another quickie subject I wanted to cover. I did notice now there, you could kind of see it here, more cartilage connections in the rib. I'm seeing a lot of photos with, it used to just be all of these bottom ones connected, but now there's another connection up here jumping up, and you can see it on this image. Pain in your lower chest or upper abdomen. Okay, so for me, it's not lower chest or upper abdomen. It's in the back. So whatever it's doing it's more around the back. Feels like it's around the what are those things called again? That plate that connects on the back there. It's the scapulas. Yes. The syndrome usually occurs in 8th, 10th ribs. SRS is caused by hypermobility of the interior false ribs that allows the 8th, 10th ribs to slip or click as the cartilaginous rib tip abuts or slips under the rib above. Pain occurs from impingement of the intercostal nerve passing through the undersurface of the adjacent rib. Yeah, I don't think I have that. Just wanted to show you there. So there's a lot of images that are showing now. The additional attachments. So this one, see this one here, I don't remember that. Now I do remember these others swooping up, but there was an attachment from here to here. So I don't know if this is gonna become like a wall of cartilage in here or what, but I don't remember this attachment right here. Holy dog water website. Okay, let's go back. Back. So here's another one. Same thing. There's actually more now than there was even a few days ago, it looks like. A lot of these have it. That one has it. That one. This one. Yeah, almost all of them have that additional attachment now. The other thing I'm kind of noticing now is these ribs used to come around and the cartilage looked like a, the cartilage just looked like a different colored rib. But now there seems to be like the ribs come around one way and then the cartilage kind of jacks up at a different angle. And I don't remember it looking like that. Some of these are more like it. Like this one looks more like it. Whoops. Okay, so like this one. Let's see if we can get it. So this one is more like how I saw it before, but now I'm seeing them where the angles, right where the connection, it'll change angles really quick. So I don't know if that's the up and coming, but it's like becoming very prominent in a lot of these images now. The heck is that even? My ribs dislocate and it just happened last week. Hurts with asthma. Okay, we already covered that one. Not many things are the same as they used to be back in 2012-13 when I took my anatomy class. Yeah. Yeah. Well, just imagine if you learned in like the 90s. Oh, things are different. We're all having our tickets punched for the ME show. Yeah, I could really live without the shift symptoms, though. Those are kind of a drag. Oh, I think the floating ribs, no, they're still in the back there. This set and this set. They're very angular down now, even more than I remember, actually, now that you mention it. They're just really down. This one looks more like I remember, but... So for me, all ribs were floating ribs. They all came around, but they didn't attach in the middle. The rib cage was open. So I used to say you crack the rib cage to get at the heart. You literally would just pull it, and then they could get at the heart. That thing down the middle, the mandubrium or whatever they're calling it, that wasn't there. I'm waiting for the cat folks, elves and dwarves. I think we're getting the elves and dwarves with, we've got the dwarves basically. So elves. We're getting like really weird thin people, and they're calling it that syndrome such and such where your connective tissue isn't right or something. So we're working on it. I think the shift symptoms are getting stronger. I don't know about that. I've done a lot of things in the last few years to try to be healthier, and I think that's helping. So, like, the symptoms will get worse, but then I'll do an additional healthy thing. Okay, I'm cutting out wheat. I'm going to cut back on the cheese. I'm going to eat more. So I keep trying to, like, counteract them. So that's helping, but... So probably if I did the same thing, I'd be, like, dead now. If I did the same thing as I did 5 years ago. Yeah. There are more depictions for cat people and ancient things. Yeah, there's like a whole thing with the dog-headed people. Yeah, Sapio, I'm going to get to the inflatoplanes. I'll jump to it. It's on my list, the inflatoplanes. Fingernails, jerker. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's at the bottom of the list, but since you brought it up, we'll go to inflatoplanes. From Sapioites, it is you. It was, 1956? In 1956, they invented an inflatable airplane. I still am a little confused about how they handled the engine part of the story, but an inflatable experimental aircraft made by Goodyear Aircraft Company. The finished aircraft proved to be capable of meeting its design objectives. Although orders were never forthcoming from the military, a total of 12 prototypes were built between 56 and 59. And testing continued until 1972. So basically, you just inflate this thing, and it flew. I mean, it flew well. And you would think that it would pop, but no, they had, the material was really strong, invented by Goodyear. Let's see if I can play a tiny clip of it without getting dinged. Turn off that sound. There it is. It's an inflatable. You can go away. They might have other stuff on here. These don't all look like it. Inflatable cargo glider, inflatable reconnaissance aircraft, crash-proof glider. So supposedly they had some kind of mechanism that constantly topped off the air. So even if you got shot at by small arms fire, you wouldn't go down because like it would just keep pumping more air into it so it wouldn't like deflate on you, which I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, so it's now going all the way back to 1931. Wait. No, 1935. Interesting. Oh, so Russia had one in 1935. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And Goodyear had one in 56, but looks like this is 55 from the UK. And they have video of these things flying, so apparently they were pretty cool. Anyway, I just thought I'd put that out. Anybody ever heard of an inflatable airplane? Because I sure haven't. You know, a unicorn is coming. Yeah, sooner or later, I'm sure. You know, unicorns aren't even that weird. I mean, there's a whole bunch of like hooved, horsey type animals with horns already. The only difference between what we got now is the placement. There's goat things with single horns and there's horse things with double horns. So it really wouldn't even be that weird a thing. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you're still in because I thought you might know if there was. Yeah, what I don't get, they were saying like if you look up the spiel on it, they're saying that they were going to market it like you could bring it in your car, you could just have it in your car and then, you know, like packed in your car and then just drive out and then inflate it. And I'm like, well, what about the motor and the air compressor or whatever? I mean, how did all that work? I wasn't able to really find the detail on that because it seemed like that would have to be pretty hunk and heavy, right? I'm not sure, but it seemed a little. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, they claim that you could take small arms fire and not go down. The engine pressurized the balloon. Okay, so it was like a combo propeller pressurizer thing. That would make sense. Didn't we get prehistoric unicorns already? Well, they call them unicorns, but they look like ghastly beasts with a horn. They didn't really look like unicorns. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if those things maybe slowly change, though. Let's just take a quick look at that. Because it seems like every time I look at those, they're a little bit less ghastly than they were before. And they're looking almost like buffaloes now. See, not very unicorn looking. What is that thing? Is that just some fantasy creature? Looks like it's a. They're looking a little bit less ghastly than I remember them, but still nowhere near like a horse-looking thing. Maybe we need about 20 or 30 more shifts. Anyway, I keep waiting for that too. Unicorns are in the Bible. Yep. So basically you had a motorcycle with inflatable wings and a propeller. You know, you'd think they never would have said unicorns were a myth. They would have said they were based on something like that. Yeah, if they were in the Bible, then there should have been at least a contingent of Bible people who would say that they're not a myth because they're in the Bible. But there's a lot of weird stuff in the Bible too, and this is a pretty big contingent of people who just say they believe in the Bible but ignore all that weird stuff. Let's just not talk about that weird stuff. Sumatran unicorn, but it has two horns. That's the one that stands sideways and looks like a unicorn, I think. Yeah, Ia channel. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like she's really gotten into the negative, and I try to avoid that. Okay, got this one. Okay, all right. I'll save the really creepy one for last. Should I? I don't know. Okay, I'll do it first because I'll leave the rabbits till last. Okay, no, I'll do the rabbits first. Okay, can decide. All right, so what's up with those rabbits on the thumbnail? So apparently now we have these rabbits that can't hop, but they can walk on their front legs. So I don't understand. So they're saying there's a genetic defect that makes them unable to hop. They can walk slowly, or they can walk on their front legs. Like, do you have a genetic defect and you're too dumb to hop, but yet you could do? They actually literally walk along on their front legs. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't just walk along on all of their legs. See, I think that's really suspicious. If you have this defect and your back doesn't work right, or your spine doesn't work right, and they're saying it's a problem with the nerve impulses not being transmitted properly, but yet you can walk on your front legs, and they can walk slowly with their back legs. So why wouldn't they just do that? But no, they jump up on their front legs and walk along. It makes no sense. It's almost just like they're messing with us or something, because first it was those skunks that do the handstands when they attack with their, I'll get that one on there. So I'm like totally said this is a Mandela. Skunks did not used to attack by standing on their freaking front legs. Okay, so now this is how skunks attack. At least some of them. And don't get me started about the coloration, because that's an old Mandela. Yeah, so first, like about 15 years ago, you started seeing like little dogs, videos of little dogs doing that when they peed. And then there was the skunks. So now we got these rabbits. And they don't just do a handstand, they actually walk. And I've said before that I've seen a lot of dogs do it. Like, it used to be if dogs lost their two front legs, that was it. They were like a sausage on the ground, right? But now they can get up on their back legs and walk like people. And I've also said before that I don't remember like chimps and gorillas being so good at walking on two legs. So there's a lot going on with these creatures, but this one just seems ridiculous. I can't see why they'd be able to do this but not hop or walk slowly. In fact, they can walk slowly. Why wouldn't they just do that? So they're calling these Alfort jumping rabbits. And I don't know why they're calling them jumping rabbits, because the whole point is that they can't jump. So Alfort, A-L-F-O-R-T, jumping rabbits. And this was found by J. Emblin. So very good find, J. Emblin. And then the tougher fingernails were found by John Austin. Good find, good find. And the golden inflatoplane by Sapioid, of course. All right, so we got one more kind of creepy one. Can't believe all these animals displaying more and more personifications. Doing drugs, punching other animals, handstands. What's next? Fluent speech. Well, we did have those dogs that will punch the speech buttons and say, like, if they want to go outside, they'll punch the outside speech button. I remember skunks with one stripe of white. Yeah, Pepe Le Pew used to have the one stripe, but now he has two stripes. Oh, yeah, first he got another stripe, but then he got canceled. Tell you to go rot in hell and die on some stream or some Reddit. Like, so I can't, like, if I goof up the pronouns, that's horrible, but you can go tell someone to go rot and die in hell, and I hope everybody you know dies, so you suffer. And that's not bad. You can do that. I'm like, what the heck, Microaggressions bad. Macroaggressions, though, those are fine. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. You want to end on cute snow monkeys. Macaques are riding deer. Macaques are riding deer. All right. I'll put that one on, but unfortunately for you, I have another one that's not quite so... It's not the worst, but it's not the best. So macaques, Japan's monkeys wash their potatoes and ride deer like horses. Okay, so these are those same ones that like the hot tub. And now they're graduated to deer horseback riding. How come these deer put up with this crap? Well, there's a lot of images. On Japanese island Yakushima, macaque monkeys are known to ride deer for transportation. In return, they groom deer and share food with them. That's funny. I like it. Japanese macaques. Gonna write that sucker down. Ride deer on Yakushima. Ugh, my pen died. There we go. So what are these? They just like bribe these deer to be their buds and then jump on them? Oh, actually that guy I think is doing another kind of riding. Okay, now this is in Cambodia. Huh. Well, what the heck? It's not the weirdest thing we've seen this year. Well, cool. Pet scare cucumber, please explain. This is new to me. Oh, that was a meme that went around, what, like 6 months, a year ago? Maybe it was like a year and a half ago. So somebody took a video of like some cat was minding their own business and they would take like a cucumber and slide it near the cat, and then the cat would turn his head and see this weird cucumber and it would go Wah! And jump and scare. But so then it became this meme that cats are scared of cucumbers, but I really don't think so, because really I think what it was is that the cat saw its area and everything was clear, and then suddenly he turned and saw a weird object next to him. I don't really think that it's necessarily that it was a cucumber, although that shape might be a little more triggering than other shapes, and they're pretty large and they look kind of snake-like, so some cats jumped a mile when they saw this cucumber, and come to think of it, that it's kind of snake-like might be a lot of the reason. But I think the main reason is just that they didn't see it there before, and now it's right there next to their back legs or something. But most of the cats that I know that people try to do this for, they just looked at it like, why is there a stupid cucumber next to me? They didn't do anything. So it's more this surprise. If you take a cucumber and show it to the cat in their face, they'll just sniff it and they'll, okay, whatever. But if you try to sneak it in on them, yeah, they will jump. Planet of the Apes is coming. Yeah, who knows? Well, I don't think they're going to take over, but... Monkeys are arseholes. I do agree with you on that one. They do. And birds. Those two. Not pets that I'm getting. All these facial expressions of animals too. Smiling, looking mad. Yeah. They're all human facial expressions. Okay, so the last one, what do you call that thing again? It is ocular vicarious menstruation. You can see I was just checking it earlier today. I kind of was wondering if we were going to see this, because it's kind of in lore a lot, but I've never heard of it really happening. So bleeding from the eyes. So I thought that we might get some kind of bleeding from the eyes thing, but I didn't really think it would be this. So supposedly, if you have ocular vicarious menstruation, then every time you're, as a female, your little monthly visitor comes calling, you bleed from your eyes as well as, the regular. So once a month, you bleed from your eyes. Rare condition. So what would cause this? Because the thing is that the regular bleeding is caused by a buildup that is meant for the baby to attach to in your body. So when no egg, baby, blastosome, or whatever they call those, attaches to that lining, then the body goes, we don't need that anymore, and slows it off. And that is the menstruation and the blood. Okay, but your eyeballs don't have that tissue in it. So why would they be bleeding at the same time? It's not... It makes a kind of vague sense in that it's both blood, but there really is no reason to do that because the tissue that causes the bleeding is not in your eyeball. So the argument they're saying, which is really kind of vague and really suspicious to me personally, is that where did I read that? It's from the hormones. Your monthly hormone alteration is causing cyclical vascular permeability. So your vascular areas are becoming more permeable. That does not make sense to me, though, because you've got vascular areas all over your body. If all of those got permeable, you'd be like bleeding to death. You'd be really sick. You'd have blood all kind of places, but so it's just, so they're saying sometimes it'll happen in the nose and sometimes it'll happen in the eyes. But you've got vascular regions everywhere. This should be like a life-threatening thing. But instead they're just saying it's like nothing. It's no biggie. You'll be fine. Ocular vicarious, a cyclical bleeding of extragenital organs during a normal menstrual cycle. Most cases from the nose, but in some cases bleeding can happen from lips, eyes, lungs, stomach, blah, blah, blah. Clinically termed hemolacria. So apparently it could also happen for non-menstrual regions, and it just happens. And there was another word for that, but I forgot it now. But anyway, it's a thing now, basically. You can bleed from your eyes. And as Recall Vector found, you can bleed from other places, from jogging, bunch of weird stuff. Yeah, need input, saw it on Recall Vectors. We talked about that before you got here. That was like an early one we mentioned from Recall Vectors show. Yeah, nobody remembers that. So yeah, they're saying it's vascular permeability brought on by hormones. I think that's a whole load of hooey. Endometriosis is the only other way of bleeding outside of the uterus in my timeline. What is happening in the eyes? Are there cells there now? Yeah, nope. They're just saying the vascular area got permeable. I think that's a load of hooey, though. So you could pretty much bleed from any vascular region now. Like, why would your eyes get all permeable, but then not all the other, that doesn't make any sense. Statues of Mary crying blood. Yeah, see, those are the old lore. I kind of had a feeling we would get something like that. Now I need to watch another video to clean those images from my head. Blood coming out of your eyes is definitely not the worst one compared to what we started with. You have to admit. So apparently it doesn't hurt or anything, is what they're claiming. Yeah, I had it. There was an image of it before, but now I don't know where it is. Anyway, you get it. Basically, it just looks like there's red in your eyes. It's a little bit watery because you still have your regular fluids in there too. Like we have brain cells in the stomach. Yeah, that one's really old for me. It came out in before I knew about the Mandela, maybe 10 years ago. And now there's brain cells in your like heart and other organs as well. That's kind of an older Mandela too, though. There's another girl who has to cry or pull out crystal shards from her eyes. I've seen the video with an independent filmmaker present. Yeah, you know, you never know. Need input. This timeline is pretty gross. I still got my... Oh, you have the octagon pupils, huh? I don't think I have those. Last I checked, they weren't there yet. So why do you hate them? Is it just because they're creepy, or is there some other reason? I've even heard things about a second heart in humans to keep an eye on that. It's like Doctor Who now. No human is born with two hearts, but in the extreme case of heart disease called cardiomyopathy, rather than receiving a donor heart and moving yours, doctors can graft a new heart onto your own to help share the work. So you can have two. You're just not born with it. I don't think what's stopping you from being born with it, though. There's not really anything. All right, let me just click on this. Can I get cached? Functioning of the secondary heart calf muscles. The calf muscles are named as soleus. In order to get back the blood towards the heart again, the effort of heart is not enough. Also, the effort of veins are also not enough because it didn't have enough force to pump the blood as compared to arteries. In this case, the calf muscle plays a prominent role in functioning as a secondary heart to push back the blood. The contraction and relaxed state of these muscles makes blood to force back towards the heart. Regular exercise and avoiding fat deposits in calf muscles will make the circulatory system effective and make you fresh and healthy every day. Oh. Huh, I have not heard that before. Which part of the human body is called the second heart? I have totally not heard that. So what, walking is good for the heart now because you're pumping blood? Huh. Okay. Wow, okay. Calves are your second heart. All right, let's see. There is a Doctor Who there. I would not be surprised if we get two hearts, at least like in some people. It'll be some weird congenital defect at first, and then it'll get more and more common. That's a different story. I'm not finding the heart one. Okay, well, it doesn't sound like we have them yet unless they're put on there. I've definitely heard of them putting extra kidneys on. Then the new kidneys that they stick on are in the place where the old kidneys always were. Okay, the second brain is the gut, but then there's some in the heart and everything too. All right, so, well, I found out something. Two hearts would be great. Yeah, if you had a heart attack, well, you have a backup one. That rusty guardrail bear's going to bed. Take care. I'm signing off here in a minute. We're like really close. I just wanted to see if I missed anything. Next, I'll have a heart in my butt. Yeah, who knows? Maybe the glutes will be the third heart. Maybe that's going to be the argument. You got to exercise to like literally get the blood flowing. It's going to be like the bellows is the feet. Yeah, my calves have been really tight lately. Maybe I'm going to have a heart attack. I don't know. It's funny, I used to get the problem at the bottom of my calf where it touches onto the foot, but lately it's been at the top where it it attaches onto the knee, so I've just been like wrapping it. We see more and more people able to not eat at all nowadays. Would it be as well a Mandela effect? I don't know. Do we really know for sure that that's happening? I've gotten really suspicious that we'll get there, and Dolores Cannon talked about that's where we're heading, that the ones that go to the new earth, not the like hell earth, will eventually no longer eat. She said it'll happen slowly. I kind of feel like I'm seeing it though, because the days are short, so I definitely eat a lot less than I used to. Like I only eat like half, as I used to eat, and it just seems like it's still plenty because the days are so short. And then there's more and more foods that I just kind of don't want to eat a lot, like meat. I used to love meat, and now it's every now and then I want it, but a lot of times I don't. So I don't know, just it's like every few months another food is off the list of yummies or something. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually get there. Twerking would be considered cardio, yeah. Well, it kind of is. I'm sure it takes a lot of effort. The heartbeat was different, yep. I have a hard time eating never before, yeah. If I can't eat nearly as much. The stomach is different. It's smaller. You feel all like squished in the ribs or something if you eat much. I can't eat big bites anymore. I used to be able to like take a big bite of sandwich, but now I really can't. I got to really take small bites or it won't go. It'll get like stuck going down. And it's not just me. Other people I've heard say the same thing. There were even suggestions to use animal hearts in the legs near the groin for airplane pilots to be able to survive higher accelerations, more G's of force. So they're just trying to get the blood into the brain despite the G forces. I don't know. I don't, as much as people want to become a pilot, are they really going to like sign on to having an animal heart stuck on their groin? That might be a little bit more than the average guy is willing to go through to be a pilot. The Emmy is going to make us exercise. I am not too bad. I do exercise twice a week at least with the pickleball. If we analyze the Mandela effect neutrally, there are two possibilities. First, that all is designed from a machine or a creator, or that we co-create. First option is more probable. I don't know about that. And it could be both. I mean, it could be it was set up by a creator, but then we got free will. And so we have a big vote in what happens. So it could be both. I don't necessarily think that like the law of attraction and manifestation stuff necessarily goes against the Bible. There's a lot of things in the Bible that kind of could be taken as hinting at it. You got, you're plunked down here and you make your decisions, and you're responsible for them. So we all have the feeling that we have an influence, but at the same time, we all have the feeling that we have a storyline written for us. Yeah, but there's so many storylines. So maybe, the mystics say that you basically have a general outline plan when you come. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is, the things. And, but then there's a lot of variation within that. So that might be part of it, that you have certain tasks that you have to do. It's sort of like a video game. Okay, you've got certain goals that you have to reach at each level, but how you accomplish that is not going to be the same each run. And you might like skip over some problems and get straight to conquering that level quickly in some cases, or you might have to keep doing the same thing 500 times because you can't figure out how to get over some obstacle and conquer that level. You might zoom through some levels and get stuck on other levels. Major problem with law of attraction is greed. Okay, so but how is that a problem specifically? So, everybody wants stuff, right? Okay, so why don't we all get all what we want? That would be the question. But law of attraction is complicated because everything else goes into it too. So say if you want stuff, like I want a big house, okay. But what say if you don't believe you deserve it? Okay, that could block the other want. Or you wouldn't actually be happy if you got the house, and your psyche knows that. So if you say, I want a bigger house so I can be happy, and those two things won't go together, and you won't be happy if you got the bigger house, then that can jam it up. It's really complicated. I mean, people think that the law of attraction is just some real simple thing, but when you really dig into your psychology, there's so many conflicting things. Like, how many of you guys know people who say they're going to do something? Like, I'm going to, make an album of my, I'm such a great singer, I'm going to make an album, I'm working on it, blah, blah, blah. And they talk about this for like 20 years, and they hardly ever actually take a step towards doing it. They haven't even written down their song yet, or, people talk about stuff all the time. I want this, I'm going to do. They don't do it. For years and years and years, they don't do it. So why are they not doing it? I mean, are they afraid of success? Are they afraid of failure? There's a whole bunch of complicated things. And the law of attraction has the same hang-ups, that one part of your brain wants it, but another part of your brain doesn't. It's not going to go forward. Buddhist monks and their thought form created by focus and attention, they are said to create something. People tried groupthink and they designed a haunting for a house that was never haunted. Hey, it could happen. I don't know if I would want to spend my psychic energies on something like that. That's for sure. I mean, like, okay, why did they pick a haunted house? Wouldn't you pick like let's manifest, a cure for maybe some weird disease that, doesn't have one? Or when I became Emmy, my head really spun and I felt faint. I've definitely had a thing where I felt kind of dizzy, but not like I was gonna fall over. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, my body was still fine, but there was some kind of weird thing in my head where it just seemed a little off. Go away. We can't get all we want because we don't work together with everyone else to make a world in which everyone gets what they want and they don't want bad things. Yeah, that would be like the global issue. So when you talk about law of attraction and manifestation, the general theory is that you have a lot of control in your own sphere, your own life, what specifically happens to you. But you can't control other people that much. You can have an influence on the nearby people, but they are their own people with their own life and their own thoughts. So unless you can really convince them, and even if you convince them to go along with you, they may not believe it, in their mind, or so it's very hard to, strongly control somebody. You can certainly influence them, try to make it a good influence. So then when you get to the greater world, though, the theory is that it's much more of a democratic deal, so you're just one of many votes, and who knows how many for real votes, but say if there's a whole bunch of young people who grew up on the internet, don't have very good social skills, are afraid of the real world, and really don't want to get back out there and would rather stay home and play video games all day, maybe they can manifest something like a lockdown. There's a whole bunch of people that are really enjoying the lockdowns, introverts mostly, not all of them, of course, but and I've definitely met people who although they disagree with the lockdowns, still had to admit that time off was nice. So if you get enough people manifesting that, maybe it happens. Yeah, there's unconscious and subconscious issues. And that's a lot of trying to, enlightenment is basically digging around, finding your stupid stuff that's in your head, your issues, and sorting them out. Egregores or thought forms can be positive or negative. The power of collective consciousness forms them. Yeah, it seems like you could probably, if you're powerful enough, you could probably form one yourself with just increased effort, but like I said, I don't think I'd pick something all negative and icky like a haunting. If I was going to play with it, play with some positive thing. There's so many good things. You put all that effort into it, might as well go for something good. I mean, even if it's just like a new car or something, it doesn't even have to be that good, but I would not pick negativity. Anyways, so it's getting late. It's 2:30 already, so I think it's time for me to head on out. But you guys had a lot of good ones today, so thank you. And so, think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.